Hey, welcome back to Reddit Cheating Wife, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to the channel for cheating stories like this.
Me, 30 male, with my wife, 27 female, of 7 years. I want you to tell me not to read too much into this. My wife and I have been married for 7 years. There have been no major issues during our time together. We also have a 6-year-old kid. My tale starts one night when my wife goes out with her pals to a yearly local winter festival. It was perfectly normal for us to socialize separately, and I was at home with the child. She arrived home at 5 a.m., about a half hour before I had to leave for work, as we had agreed. Typically, she goes out with her closest friend, Emma, and then sleeps or sobers up as much as she can at Emma's place before returning home. This has always been an option, and she has used it a few times a year in recent years. Our residence is quite a distance from where they or I would spend the night. This was all typical. I got up, went to work, and returned home. I questioned her about her night, and she told me everything. All of the individuals she met and hung out with, her chronology, and so on. Great, I'm pleased she went home safely and had a good time. We'd previously gone on holiday at a Southeast Asian resort, and I'd taken our little used tablet with us. I'd packed it to read on instead of an e-reader since it could also play a few games. I opened it the night after she returned home after a night out to finish a game I had started on it. I opened the online browser first to check ESPN, but it took me straight to her Facebook conversations page, where she had signed in to check on a friend who was house sitting for us. At the resort, we got a restricted internet package. This is when everything began to go awry. I saw she had messaged a new man at work called Dale, whom she had mentioned a few times with the message "I had so much fun." I couldn't help but tap it when I saw it. I uncovered a different story of her night here. There was nothing immediately frightening about the text in terms of thinking anything specific occurred, but oh were they unsettling to read as her spouse. My current problems are twofold. 1, while I can't claim she lied to me, she did misrepresent her night. Except for Emma, she had rapidly lost her long-term work colleagues as a result of their chat, and had spent the night in a second pub with Dale and a few of Dale's pals. She did mention meeting Dale to me, but he was really a footnote. I can see from the message discussion that she spent the whole night with him and not with the others she had highlighted. For number 2, consider her tone. 3 exclamation marks were used in each phrase. She told him many times that she had a great time. When the topic became stopped, she pushed it forward. He did start it with a message at 2 a.m., after they split about a female who gave my wife a hard time about them hanging together, but she pushed the whole discussion from when she woke up at 9 a.m. to when I came home at 4 p.m. the following day. None of this is very damning, but it piqued my interest and lingered in the back of my mind for a few days. I almost wish I had left it there, but I didn't. 2 nights later, I did something I'd never felt driven to do before. I took her phone after she had fallen asleep. I knew there wouldn't be anything with him since they were on Facebook, but her messages with Emma piqued my interest. I was apprehensive and didn't have much time, so I went right into her chat with Emma the next day. There was nothing about Dale at first, just about how a different person I'd never heard of had handled Emma. But then, almost out of nowhere, Emma asked my wife, "Do you think it would be difficult for you to work with Dale tomorrow? He's very sensitive, ha ha." "I don't believe it will be uncomfortable," my wife said, although he did contact me in the middle of the night to apologize over that girl. They resumed their conversation about the guy who was giving Emma is married to someone else, I have no idea who this guy is, before my wife texted Emma a picture of them and Dale, with my wife in the middle face pressed against both of them, and my wife teasing Emma about looking like a different girl in the picture. A girl who had reportedly slept with Dale, which they had made fun of. My wife then exclaimed, quote, "I can't believe we got 2 men to kiss." That was the extent of their discourse concerning him. Why would working with Dale be difficult? Why did my wife bring up the message concerning the girl but not the fact that she had enthusiastically and eagerly proceeded to push the subject after that? What might have gone wrong? Touchy. As if he became enraged about something or was physically all over her. Is it because she pushed him away when he became too tactile that the situation is awkward? Why then, the following day, do you push the topic with him so hard? Whatever happened, she wasn't averse to it based on how pleased she was chatting to him. So, what now? I sat on it for a few more days, alternating between trusting her and being uneasy. I felt I wanted to know more, so I took her phone when she passed out a few nights later and tried to read more on it. First, I saw there was nothing more between her and Emma regarding him, which was great. I scrolled up about a month in their conversation and began reading to make myself feel better, and it did. There is nothing negative to say about me, and just 2 references of him, 1 when my wife hired him, and 2 when he said at work that he thought my wife and Emma were leaving too early that night. Emma's response was, "Lol, folks go out even earlier than we do," so it didn't appear like much more than a remark on something stated at work. Then I went back to what I had first read about their night out and decided to read it again. It made me feel the same way, but as I got to the conclusion, I saw the final sentence about mocking Dale about the female he'd slept with was missing. Why, of all things, erase that? All I could think of was an accident. When I was removing other messages, I accidentally deleted this one. Earlier that day, I told my wife that a friend had seen her at the second bar, something she had mostly left out of her account to assess my response. She appeared concerned, but I feigned I couldn't recall who had seen her, since no one had, and she immediately dropped it. It occurred to me at the time that the missing text I had previously read had been erased as part of a purge of texts concerning my stating that. I logged into my cell account to check what kind of messaging logs I could find, and I was astounded by what I discovered. First, I learned I could see all of her messaging apps online in that manner. Creepy. I was able to do this since her phone number was our main account holder and the number that any of us would use to pay the bill, request upgrades, or whatever. Second, I saw a text log. I could determine from her text record and her messaging app that she had erased 12 messages to and from Emma during the period I was concerned. After an hour or 2 of cross-referencing, I couldn't identify any further texts that had been erased. At this point, I felt like I was going nuts, but I reasoned if I'd gone this far, I may as well finish it. I returned to her Facebook page. That same day, she had given him a photo of herself that she said was from when she was significantly less in weight. He stated she looked better today and gave her a photo of herself after losing weight. They had been arguing over it until I arrived home. It was yesterday, and it has been approximately a week since then. I'm split about all of this because I still believe I can trust her, but I also realize I've fallen down a rabbit hole. And I'm also aware that a major part of this is due to my own choices. I should not have looked at any of this, but I did, and now I'm here. I'm also hesitant to face her. I'm frightened of being wrong and ruining a nice marriage, but I'm equally afraid of alerting her to my suspicion. If I did that, she could either terminate it without my ever knowing she cheated on me, or she may continue to pursue it while I am watching. If that's the case, I don't want her to have the upper hand. But basically, I want you to inform me that I'm being foolish so that I can stop. We share pals, therefore I can't really go to them. Talk some sense into me, Reddit. Thanks. Update. Wow, folks, I appreciate all of your input. I received a wide range of comments, but the concept that struck me the most was to continue to watch. I felt like I had a hunch with some light proof, but that I may very easily be pushing my evidence to conform with a hunch, so I opted to ignore it. It wasn't for long. My wife Emma came home the following day after I wrote this and started chatting about work. She recounted Dale being too near after someone else had called out, and how thankful she was that she didn't have to do it. I took advantage of the occasion to inquire about him. I asked him if he was after a few light inquiries since he works in a typically feminine role. She said, "No, he isn't," and then paused before adding, "perhaps a bit bi." I inquired why, and she said that she and Emma tricked him into kissing another man when they were out the night everything went wrong. When I inquired how she did it, she said that she kissed Emma. "So you kissed someone else for another man's pleasure?" I inquired. She was taken aback by the topic and said that she didn't think of it that way, that it was simply something amusing they had them do. I questioned how she would feel if I did the same thing, and she responded she understood my point. She instantly admitted that it was a bad idea and asked if I was upset. I was already upset with her because she had mistakenly leaked a work detail I had given her to the wife of a colleague of mine that day, which had landed me in some minor hot water. So I simply told her it wasn't the end of the world, but I needed a little space just then. I got to see something intriguing happen when she walked into the bedroom. She began texting Dale and Emma at the same time, which I was able to see on my computer. She was saying all the right things to Emma. "He is correct, that was dumb, I would be furious, we didn't think it through, I feel bad," and so on. In those messages, she was having a fairly spectacular breakdown, and just one thing irritated me. At one point, Emma said she was glad no one took a picture or a video, and my wife said something like, "Oh, don't even say that," and then my wife immediately deleted those 2 texts, which was both a frustrating reminder that she was deleting texts and a perplexing moment because I have no idea why she'd delete those 2 at all. Later, I double-checked the logs to ensure she had erased them and that there wasn't a synchronization problem across programs. Dale's chat was exclusively about work. In fact, it all started with a 1-minute Facebook call from him, and it was only to her follow-up that he was able to get into a safe he needed to shut. The topic then drifted into how well he fit in, how much he liked it to his former work, how much learning he had to do, and so on. Nothing out of the ordinary, however she did conclude it by providing him her phone number so he wouldn't have to Facebook contact her if she needed assistance. So, to summarize, I'm sitting in the other room, irritated with her for kissing another lady for him, she's worrying to Emma about it in one message, and she's giving him her number in another at the same time. But it was this aspect of the situation that became so irritating. She wasn't wrong to offer him her phone number so he wouldn't have to Facebook message her for work assistance, but could the timing be any worse? So I did what any responsible adult would do. Except for 2 days when I had to engage with her, I avoided her. On the third day of being mostly ignored, she moved from sad to furious, so I asked her why she was so upset. She said that she was aware that I had been reading her messages. I told her she had been being pretty dodgy, and she pointed out that the last time she did this, a truly bizarre but unrelated event, I got really furious, so I simply stated she had been acting sketchy. When she asked why, I told her everything about her messages and what was hurting me. She told me I was overreacting, that sure, she had met Dale out and done the improper kiss, but he was too intoxicated, became too rough, and they had to leave. I then inquired as to why she spent the majority of the following day texting him about how much fun she had and other trivial matters, sending him a weight loss image, a picture of her supper, her phone number, and basically pushing discussions with him. She stopped for a second and replied she didn't know, then stated she messaged him so it wouldn't be uncomfortable at work because of how suddenly she left Emma. She said that they had just been talking about fitness at work, so she sent him a photo of what she wanted to return to. She's not large, by the way, she's really very beautiful, and then her meal since it was simply a continuation of the subject. She further said that she just provided him her phone number for professional reasons. She also soon admitted that, from my viewpoint, everything seemed to be a disaster, and that if the roles were reversed, she would be thinking the same thing about me. But she also emphasized that I didn't see them at work, that she is always talking about me and our kid, and that she isn't attracted to him. She kept asking me what she could do, but I honestly didn't know. I really wanted I could have stayed and watched it for a little longer, but she outsnooped me and discovered out who I was. I needed a code to access her messages, but when I asked for it, I told her I wanted to check into Verizon's new unlimited package. This tipped her off, and she ultimately looked at my computer and discovered I was reading her messages. This is a bit concerning to me as well, since I had never done so much as snooping before. Why wouldn't she have taken my request for the code for what I said I was doing seriously? Why was she on high alert? She claimed she was suspicious since I glanced through her phone while she was in the shower, so her guard was up as a result. I'm not sure whether I did or what she's referring to, but I believe it occurred. She also rationalized the text deletions by claiming that they were all chatting to Emma about how she suspected I was reading her messages. I know this isn't entirely accurate since I watched her delete the strange happy no one snapped a picture messages, but it's believable enough. She continued asking what she could do and ultimately deleted her messenger, but I told her it was worthless since she'd find a way and had already given him her number. She urged me to speak to him, to talk to Emma, but I refused because I didn't think he did anything wrong and it would make her life awkward, and Emma would simply tell me whatever my wife wanted her to tell me anyhow. So she kept emphasizing that she hadn't done anything that I wasn't aware of, that sure, it looked horrible, that she would do everything to rectify it, and that there was nothing there. She told me to keep an eye on her belongings, that everything was great, that she understood, and so on. It put me in an awkward position. I feel like I have a significant amount of proof that something was beginning, and I have a feeling she likes him. I even told her that if I were him and got a message like that from a female, I'd believe she was a sure thing. Nonetheless, all of her arguments are credible, and I am positive that nothing occurred based on the timings I was able to clearly establish. I believe she betrayed our trust, but I also know there will be no further consequences. Unless, of course, it does, in which case she will just find new methods to conceal it. For her part, she is able to explain everything quite clearly, admitting that it seems to be incorrect but generally dismissing it as a coincidence. After a few more days of rage, I gave up and declared I'd drop it. I have, but I thought I'd leave this update for now. It's not enough to destroy a decent marriage, but not getting to know seems strangely unsettled. Did I get caught capturing her, or is the whole greater than the sum of its parts in this case?